She had dreams of becoming a nurse and was just days away from the moment she worked her whole life for. But 23-year-old Tammy Laura O'Dunsey would never get the chance to make that dream come
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, she was fine as fuck.
true. Houston police say the nursing student was found stabbed to death inside her apartment, allegedly killed by her roommate, Chester Grant, after an argument over their pets. The two
Over cats? Are you dead serious, bro? Like, how does that even happen?
had been living together for about 2 months. O'Dunsey had been documenting her journey to becoming a nurse, sharing
Eliana, you gonna crash out over your cat? No, that's not funny. Let me chill.
her hard work and counting down the days to graduation. Now she'll never get to walk across the stage, and the man accused of taking her life is facing decades behind bars. I'm your host, Kennedy Walker, and I'll walk
Yeah, why you even being a roommate with that old ass guy anyways? Like,
you through the details. It was a
ride or die for my cats. As you should. That's like me and dogs.
somber scene at Texas Women's University in Houston, which should have been a day of joy and celebration, turned into a quiet remembrance of a classmate lost too soon. And
Damn, that is sad. That is sad as fuck. Oh, let me speed up just a little bit. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, just a little bit.
instead of Tammy Laura O'Dunsey walking across the stage to receive her nursing pin, it was her sister who accepted it on her behalf. O'Dunsey, just 23 years old, was killed just days
Oh my god, bro, this is so sad. This is actually sad. Like, we starting off the stream on a sad note. Weirdo Macon said, "Yo, what's good, bro?"
before graduation, a milestone meant to mark the start of a promising future, now overshadowed by unimaginable loss. Originally from the United Kingdom, O'Dunsey had shared her journey on TikTok as a British student navigating
She was British. Dang. If y'all watching this, go ahead, subscribe to the channel.
life in the United States. She often posted study tips and motivational messages, encouraging others to follow their dreams and join the healthcare field she loved so deeply. But before she could fully live out her own dream, her life was cut short. On April 26, Houston police were called to her apartment for a welfare check. According to the Daily Mail, a friend of O'Dunsey's father contacted authorities after her family couldn't reach her. When police arrived at the apartment, they found blood on the rear patio. Inside, officers discovered O'Dunsey on the kitchen floor. She had suffered multiple stab wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene. Police also found
Like, what the fuck is going, bro? Like, are they gonna tell us like how the argument happened, or because no way that just happened randomly.
her roommate, 40-year-old Chester Grant, inside the apartment. According to investigators, Grant had attempted to take his own life. He had stabbed himself 6 times, including one.
All right, my bad, but it's like McDonald's with the MC. It's like McDonald's with the MC. I don't understand, bro. Can you elaborate a little bit more? Josiah Ham said, "Hi, what are you watching?" Apparently this like TikToker got like stabbed by her roommate.
Once in the neck. Detectives say the two had argued a few days earlier over the cats they both kept in the apartment. That dispute, they believe, escalated into deadly violence. O'Dunsey and Grant had only been roommates for a few months and did not.
Oh my God, they were only roommates for a few months, bro. They barely knew each other. Josiah said, "That's crazy, no cap." On me, bro. People are crazy. Like, you gotta be careful with these roommates, bro. Like, she was young, fine as fuck. You feel me? Like, bad, and just got killed over that. Like, this is crazy. Oh, McMahon. Okay, yeah, you're right. McMahon. McMahon. Yeah, duh. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
Not know each other prior to living together, according to police. Grant was hospitalized for several days to be treated for his injuries. Once released, he was taken into custody and charged with murder. O'Dunsey's family created a GoFundMe to raise money to return her body to the United Kingdom. In a statement posted online, her family said she had moved to the United States to pursue her dream of becoming a nurse, dedicating herself to a career of care and service. They shared that she had a passion for helping children.
Damn, bro, and being a nurse is hard. Like, it is hard, bro. You can get straight A's and still not get accepted. She fine as hell. That's what I said. I was like, damn, bro. I said the same thing. Like, she fine as fuck.
Had hoped to make a difference in
That's probably what made the guy mad. He was probably like, man, you know, this young girl, she like, you know, she look good and stuff. She finna come in here, tell me what to do with my cats. Like, niggas just being lame and weird. Nah, it's just complicated. You're not dumb. Thanks, McMahon. I appreciate you, twin. That's love.
young lives through her work in healthcare. In the end, Tammy Laura O'Dunsey didn't get to cross the stage or receive the nursing pen she had worked so hard for. Instead, in a quiet and emotional moment, her sister accepted it on her behalf. Now, a symbol of both achievement and heartbreak, and a reminder to those who knew her of the passion and purpose she carried every day. And joining me to talk more about this is criminal defense attorney Nicole DeBoard. Nicole, thank you so much for coming on today. Let's just jump right in.
This is so sad, bro. I can't even deal. Phoenix said hi. What's up, Phoenix? How you doing? How's your day going?
The suspect is charged with murder. Is there a possibility that prosecutors could pursue additional charges in this case?
I doubt it, only because murder is about as severe as it gets. There's not a whole lot of benefit in terms of prosecution resources to trying to go after this individual for additional charges. Murder in Texas carries anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in the penitentiary. So there's not a lot of reason for prosecutors to seek additional charges.
What does the prosecution?
Yeah, this seems like a pretty open and shut case, right? Like, it doesn't seem like he has a lot of leeway. Josiah said, how old is she? No, she was in college, I think, 23. Yeah.
Need to prove in a case like this to secure a conviction, even though it seems like everything, the writing's on the wall.
Right, exactly. It does seem fairly cut and dry. In Texas, there is no premeditation required. It is simply whether or not the individual charged caused the death of another intentionally.
And I know you just mentioned that he could be sentenced anywhere from, what did you say, 5 to 99 years. Could prosecutors pursue the death penalty in a case like this, or is that unlikely?
Unlikely in a case like this. Death penalty usually has to come with an additional crime in the state of Texas. So, for example, if it were a robbery or a sexual assault, or if it was a murder of a child under the age of 6, those are the kinds of terms that usually set a death penalty, making that available. But in this circumstance, it sounds like, from what we know, from the very little facts that have been shared, it sounds like someone got upset with their roommate, and this is what happened.
Is there a chance for parole in a murder conviction in Texas?
Probably not, right?
There are circumstances where certain people can be paroled. There are also circumstances where the prosecution can charge the case in a way that doesn't
My heart is in here. What up?
allow for parole. So you could get life without parole for certain types of murder.
And can you just tell me more about that? How often do cases like this result in just life sentences here in Texas?
Bro, that nigga is getting life, bro. They didn't even know each other. You feel me? And then bro just killed her. Like, that nigga is not getting out.
So jurors in Texas are the ones who choose, ultimately, if this person decides that they want to have a jury trial. Jurors decide what the punishment is. So the jurors have anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life at their disposal. And that assumes that the person who is being charged doesn't have any prior convictions. If a person has prior convictions, the sentence floor can go up. And so a jury...
And I think they were saying earlier that bro didn't have any convictions prior to this. So it was really like a random crash out. You feel me? Like, over some cats. Like, that shit is crazy.
Jury would hear the facts of the case and determine what they thought the appropriate sentence would be, and then ultimately they render that verdict, and it can be really just a number anywhere between 5.
Josiah Ham said life for prison, no cap. Yeah, no cap, bro. Send that nigga to jail.
5 and 99 years or life in prison.
How does Texas law typically treat cases involving roommate disputes that turn violent? Is it considered domestic violence?
Okay, if I can guess, I'll probably say it's not domestic violence because they weren't in a relationship. But I think it might be because they live together. But I don't know, though.
It can be. It can certainly be considered domestic violence. So a member of the family, according to Texas law, can be someone who lives in the household, even though they're not related by...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Even though it's not a relationship, it's still domestic because y'all still live in the same house. You feel me? So...
blood or even potentially dating. So it could be a circumstance where the prosecution decides that there's a benefit to charge.
That shit crazy, bro. That shit crazy as fuck. Y'all gotta be careful with these roommates, bro. Like, these niggas are not your friends.
Him as a quote-unquote family member. And so we simply need to wait and see exactly how they decide to pursue the case. But in this circumstance, again, because jurors have at their disposal already such a broad range of punishment, there may not be a substantial benefit to the prosecution charging it in that way and adding the additional burden. Although,
Yeah, she was fine as hell, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit.
This is going to include potential video footage, likely digital evidence from cell phone communications. There can be all kinds of things that law enforcement will collect to try to make sure they understand the complete picture.
Yeah, but I mean, it's only so much that you really need to close this case, right? I mean, how much more do you actually need for real?
And law enforcement is saying
this is not something that would be litigated in advance, for example. This would be something really put out for the jury's consideration during a trial, which could be years in the future.
And police say that the suspect tried to harm himself. If you look at his mugshot, you can see, a huge bandage on his neck, which is where they say that he tried to stab himself. How might Grant's self-inflicted injuries
Oh my God, bro.
factor into the case, if at all?
You know what's crazy? I didn't even peep that. I literally didn't even peep that. Hold on, let me turn off my camera so I can see it. This right here, I didn't even peep that shit, bro.
It's hard to say. I mean, prosecution will certainly be.
Josiah says she is fine as hell, bro. Eliana said he didn't want to hear my conspiracy theory. Sorry, I didn't even see that. What's your conspiracy theory? Sorry, I didn't even see that.
Arguing that this person, did this because they felt so guilty about what they had done.
No, I don't hate you, Eliana. You are my world. What's the conspiracy theory?
So that it's a sign of guilt. It could be evidence of severe mental health issues that the defense is going to need to look at and determine whether or not this is somebody having a psychiatric episode.
Vegetables promote gambling? How? Elaborate. Like, how does vegetables promote gambling?
It is just one more piece of the puzzle.
And the family is saying that the victim and the suspect didn't really know each other. They were essentially strangers before moving in. How significant is the fact that they were essentially strangers before living together?
I think it just adds a little bit of scariness.
Split the word up. Vegetables, Vegas tables. I'm weak. Not gambling. That's how it be, though. You know what we should do? We should ban vegetables. Or we should, I don't know. We should come up with some way to, like, market gambling to kids. Nah, let me chill.
Ultimately, to the facts of the case. I mean, again, these cases really boil down to a jury gets to hear what happened, and that's going to be based on the evidence presented by the prosecution. The fact that this nursing student ended up moving in and sharing, an apartment with somebody that she barely knew, who very well may have had extensive problems. Clearly something was.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, bro. Like, she moved into a random ass apartment with a random ass guy, bro. Like, damn, like, that shit sucks. Oh my God. Josiah said he looked like he 41. He do look old as shit, don't he? Like, old as fuck. It's about to make me mad, bro. Like, why be the old weird people, like, like messing up young, nice people's lives?
Off that she didn't know about. It adds to the fear factor, quite frankly. And jurors are certainly just human beings, and they're going to be able to consider how that impacts their thought on this individual's day.
Right, yeah, I'm almost done. I think I'm gonna skip forward a little
bit. Choose if they wanted to room with each other, and that's not our business or responsibility to get in the way.
What kind of defense could Chester Grant potentially argue? If you were his attorney, how would you go about fighting this case?
First, I would want to learn a little bit about his mental health history to determine whether or not
okay. They're gonna be like, oh, he's mentally disabled. He didn't know what he was doing. I hate when people say that shit. Like, gang, you know exactly what you did, bro.
Or ongoing difficulties, whether he was receiving treatment.
If you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Fuck, I didn't even mean to do that.
And that is a different calculus, because what happens in that circumstance is he cannot be found guilty of a crime while he was insane.
So bad.
Determined to be true. And so the prosecution and the defense could fight about that, whether he was or was not insane. And if he is found not guilty by reason of insanity, then he would be placed into a mental health care facility of the states and potentially reevaluated on at least a yearly basis to determine whether or not he could or should remain in custody.
Josiah Ham said I subbed. Appreciate the sub, Brody. That's love, gang. Thank you so much.
As a ward of the state for many years.
Hey, where are you from?
To come.
Could it be argued that the fact that he attempted suicide, it may suggest remorse, and could that influence sentencing at all?
That is not remorseful.
It could influence sentencing, but it's generally speaking not. It's not necessarily mitigating. It's one of these circumstances where people think, well, he must have felt really bad because he attempted suicide. But the prosecution oftentimes will flip that on its head and say, well, he felt bad moments after, and to such a degree to demonstrate real knowledge of the damage that he had done. And so it can be actually damaging to the defense's case.
And just touching back on the fact that these were two roommates, are there warning signs or even red flags that people should look out for with roommates legally?
Thank you, Brody. Appreciate you, Josiah. That's love, Brody. Yeah, we were streaming every day, so if you ever got free time, pull up on the stream and let me know like other videos and stuff we should watch too. You know what I mean?
That's such a great question. I mean, and this is a circumstance where people try to get a roommate throughout college, or in this circumstance, nursing school, to save money and to be able to afford to live and go to school. There's message boards, there's ways to meet up with people that you don't know, and the only thing that I can think of to suggest is use the same care that you would have before inviting someone to stay in your own home, to try to determine as much as you can about this person's background and history.
Yeah, that's just sad. This is really sad. Crazy story. Um, rip to her. You know what I mean? People just being weird, man, and just can't relax. Just be normal people. But yeah, that was a hard watch.